first one. Yay, Nicole. We're running it back.
Okay.
When we officially met, in case you didn't watch, like losers, if you didn't watch our show, because I loved it, that was in May, which we said earlier, it feels like 10 years ago.
It's been a long year. You were the first interview I did when I joined the campaign. And, I had people knocking down my doors asking for interviews. And I said, no, I want to do like a long form, sit down with someone with a big heart. And you're like, it came up that this might work, and you said yes. And so I was really grateful.
No, you said yes to me. Thank you, because I was so curious, because your story is amazing. And then what happened is I learned so much. Yes, the political side, and we'll get into that, but more importantly, the human side, right? I mean, how has your daughter handled all of this?
I really do. My time with her is precious. Politics is not allowed to come in. Cell phone is not allowed to come in. I do school pickup every opportunity. Like every time she's with me, I'm doing school pickup.
Wow.
So
awesome. That's the thing. The priorities have to stay the same.
They have
and then this is a season, and this was certainly a season.
Yeah.
First of all, let's go like a year ago.
Yeah.
Could you have ever 6 months ago when we met, pictured yourself at a Turning Point USA event with Donald Trump as the president-elect?
I'll be honest, I didn't know what Turning Point was a year ago. And I started to see videos of Charlie Kirk on campuses where he really opens it up and he really has the hard conversations with people. And he really brings what is this very pro-human, pro-humanity, let's talk it out vibe to campuses which have been radicalized. Many of these campuses have been totally radicalized to see the world through one lens only, and everybody else is a bad guy. And he's come in and he said, I want you to think about the fact that you can have a different opinion.
Yeah.
And I want to give you a model for how to have that conversation.
My kids don't listen to anything I say, but they listen to Charlie Kirk.
Really?
Yeah. There's annoying mom, whatever. But
you can't take that personally. It's actually
right.
It's actually programmed into human biology.
There is a certain point, it's not after age 25 when they're fully developed, when they're like, oh, my mom is not a total idiot.
Oh, they come back. Yeah.
They come
late
back.
20s.
That's what I keep banking on. And they're 22, 20, and 18. Point being, what Charlie has done is absolutely incredible, and I believe helped save this country in a massive way. And I think let's give credit to so many of these younger people who took the time to educate themselves and then didn't have the fear to speak up about it and have the conversations. Like I think Kamala Harris at one point talked about, how dumb this generation is of college students. And we learned, thanks to Charlie Kirk, in many ways, they're not, and they turned out.
Oh, at the young generation, their brain is designed to take in so much more data and information, crunch that data and create an output faster than we ever will, because they started at such a young age. They were exposed to so much more information at a young age than we were.
Yeah.
And just the speed at which the brain has to work to keep up with a TikTok account. That is incredible speed. And so you're training your brain as it's growing to do that work. So these young people, they're actually, I believe their brains are evolved differently than ours are. And that makes them, I think, attracted to authentic experiences because they're constantly seeking for that thing that validates the other stuff that they're seeing. But this can also work in reverse, and we saw this with some of the young people as well.
Yes.
That if they're being sold something and they're buying this as like a strict party line and their parents are reinforcing it, that actually is quite dangerous too. But I don't know that that's the majority. I think that is still the majority of the kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a constant study, which we all just have to keep track and just support this growth in whatever way, because they're going to evolve politically as well. Can you take me back to, I just was thinking about you so much when obviously you suspended the campaign and then aligned with Donald Trump here in Arizona. I mean, that was quite the scene when RFK came on stage there.
It was a beautiful scene.
It was. It was emotional for so many of us who've been so invested. And again, it's about America. That is it. What were those conversations like behind the scenes when you were making the decision to suspend things and then to align with Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris?
Yeah, it was. So this is why I do believe there was some divine intervention in all of this. A lot of things were happening at the same time that were actually prerequisites for us making the decision to suspend. One of those was that we were in the process of losing our first ballot challenge. We had defeated 7 of them. I mean, our campaign was in the red.
Yeah.
The entire time. You know, we were an independent campaign. Campaigns are very expensive. This, I believe, is going to be like a $10 billion like election year, which is just wild. And it is, you know, so that had to happen, but that wasn't enough, right? We would have kept going, actually. We could have kept fighting. And if you know Bobby Kennedy, he was like, we're going to win on appeal. And I was like, that could be true, you know, and let's keep trying. And so then there was the attempted assassination.
Yeah.
And watching that happen and watching America's response to that, everybody on our campaign kind of paused. We paused. We really were thinking to ourselves that it would be somehow inappropriate, you know, to let this former president, potential future president, continue on a campaign and go up against a man who's literally risking his life. You know, and Bobby had a certain attempts on his life too, but nothing like that.
Right.
And so this was all happening at the same time. And then Trump does something that was really extraordinary. He calls Bobby the day of almost dying. And he wants to talk about children's health. He's like, there's something to it. And I mean, that was enough for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You have to judge people in how they respond to the most trying days of their lives. That's how I judge people, how they respond and react. When people come back from almost dying, and you see what their first activities are, those are very intentional activities. And so behind the scenes, it was you know, we all were like, this guy cares, and he's sincere. And if he wants to sit at the table, hell yeah, we're going to sit at a table with him.
That gives me chills.
Yeah.
And I'm just so relieved. Doesn't surprise me at all with you in particular because of that human element. And you can put the other stuff aside. Not everybody's ever going to agree on everything.
Yeah.
Put that stuff aside and look at the human element of that. And we all got to see, you saw it at a much different level, for him to call you out. It's crazy. Like, who does that? Frankly, very few people. What has it been like since then for you in particular? Because obviously the role changes a little bit when you're not running to be the vice president anymore and the president.
Yeah, I always treated my life as a politician as I treat every day. I didn't become a politician. I just did politics as myself. Yeah. And I think that really stresses some people out because they're like, what is she doing?
Just me.
I'm like, I'm just doing me. Yes. And I don't particularly like parts of politics, and I do keep a distance from them. I did even as a politician. If I am to run for something again, I will do it the same way, which is as a person, as a mom, as somebody.
That's why people fell in love with you, because of that. And I do think, I know you don't want to talk about you, but in that way, but like, I believe you deserve a lot of credit because as politicians, you're taught not to do that. And you maintained it, and you're a rookie in that game. and you maintained it and you prioritized your daughter and you were you. And I think that's why so many people resonated to your team. That matters.
Yeah. The day I got home from my announcement speech was like a really big day for me. And I come home and my daughter just had an accident, and I just was like, phew, everything, you just throw everything off and you're mom, right? That's what you got to do. That's the joy of life. And why would you ever trade that for this crazy world of politics? And I would never trade that in. I don't think anyone should trade that in.
Yeah.
I think that if you show up as a mom who's taking care of everything, and you're going out there and you're like, I'm gonna be a mom for my child, and I'm gonna align with all the other moms in the United States, because they're constituents too. They're the voter base too. Your job is to represent them.
Yes.
And
Let's remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their loving partners and their children. And then you realize it's a community effort. And when you treat it as being an active member of the community versus some like weird slick back hair,
Right.
Data, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'm a tech person by profession. And I look at the data to inform like certain strategic choices, but I don't use it to inform who I am and how I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
So.
As we await people to do the right thing in Washington, D.C. and to officially, we'll make it official with Bobby and to give him that green light as for HHS. What does that look like for your future? Like, ideally, if you write out your role in this new administration, what does that look like?
I just realized something. You come from sports, and it feels like I'm being interviewed after, like I'm going
a victory?
like I'm an athlete. I love it because I was a college athlete, and I always dreamed of
sound that
being
way?
on ESPN, but I was never like good enough.
Why did it sound like I'm interviewing it?
What's next after the?
Tell me what's next. You just won the Super Bowl. No, I'm curious though. I'm just.
So what's next? I mean, look, it is. I'd love to work with Brooke Rollins. Been talking about her all week. She's the new Secretary of Agriculture. Love to work with her. I'd love to work with NIH. I'd love to be on the science side of things. I'd love to be on the autism side of things. I want to make sure that autistic kids get loving care.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because the best care is loving care. So that's really important to me, because so often these kids are like over treated with behavioral modification, and they become, a data point. And I don't ever, we can't allow that ever to be our standard.
Yeah.
So, we got to get Bobby confirmed.
We have to get that happen. I mean,
yeah,
I'm scared because I don't trust anybody anymore.
Right.
But we're gonna plan as if that happens, and continue to make America great again. And no, there was no such thing as Maha. It felt like 6 months ago either. And you guys have started another movement in this country, and I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to you for trusting me all those months ago, and even still today. It's been an honor, really, to watch you from afar.
It's been an honor to watch your journey, too.
Thanks, girlfriend. We still need to have wine. We promised this, and we haven't done this.
I'm in California.
I know. I know where to find you.
Yeah, it's mulled wine season. It's really...
Listen, I'll drink it out of a box. I don't care. Like, whatever. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay,
Good
thank
to
you,
see you.
Sage. Thanks for having me.